What does a rapper and a Marine have in common? You may say not much, but in this episode of One on One Profiles in Audacity, I interview TMR, the Marine rapper, and we discuss his journey from service to being a top rapper on the billboards, and his journey, his service, the behind the scenes of his craft, the collaborations, and basically what you don't know about when it comes to the music industry from a Marine veteran perspective. Great interview. Hope you enjoy it. And we are cooking. We are live for another episode of One-on-One Profiles in Audacity. We have the man, the myth, the legend, the Marine rapper. You see the title, the Marine rapper, from service to top rapper, Billboard glory. You may have heard some of his music. You may have heard us in Clubhouse, or seen us on a Friday Night Live session or two. But today we really want to have a conversation with the man behind, the lyrics, right? The man that kind of got to the position today that we know as TMR. My brother, I appreciate you for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just for those that don't know, to kind of get things started with, your branch of service, time that you served, and we'll kind of go from there.
Of course. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you to everybody who's listening right now. Yo, what's up? My name's excuse me. Been recording. Yo, what's up? My name is the Marine rapper, aka Raymond Lott. I am a 10-year veteran of the United States Marine Corps. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan with infantry battalions as a combat correspondent, which means I did some reporting, I did some writing stories, and I also took some photos. And now I use all the skills learned to tell those stories through music to keep the memory of the troops that were fallen overseas alive. So that's my mission right now. I also am a huge advocate for veteran suicide prevention. I'm just a huge advocate for suicide prevention in general. And I also just big up other veterans in the industry, in the music industry, entertainment industry. And I just love to see other people win and shine. So you'll see me share stories of other people in the same type of space and stuff. And I'm so glad that you're invited here to share space with you and to share these stories. So thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you, my brother. So one of the interesting things you kind of alluded to is you served in the Marine Corps. You did a variety of different things in there, from being a correspondent to, dealing with public affairs, the marketing aspect of things, storytelling. So you've had some of that. One thing I don't think people really know a lot about you is, you serve, got it. You went from the stereotypical Marine, right? And we'll talk about crayons soon because obviously we have to address that. You have a unique way that you've gone about things. And I think that's the part that people don't see. Sometimes I think people get stuck in the art only, or they see the content, but they don't see the person behind. They don't see the content, the ideas, what someone's trying to put together as far as, their strategy. And from a business perspective, you understand the marketing side, you understand the business side, you have your label, you've collaborated, so it's not so much only that you're bigging up other artists, you're literally creating pathways for other artists as well, which I think has to be highlighted because it's easy to just to say, TMR has, a CD out or has, a new, track out, and that's, it's a banger, it's on the charts, and it's great. You collaborated with Topher. We'll talk about that, The Patriot. If you haven't listened to it, we'll give a snippet here shortly. But beside that, the business side that people don't know are some things that you also are helping other artists with. Talk to me a little bit about the behind the scene things that people wouldn't know, right? Because let's say, I'll play devil's advocate here. I heard your music, it's great, but that's all you do, right? You just record music and everything just kind of magically happens, but from a business perspective, there's more to it than that, right? Like one of the things we talked about a lot is, we've built a great bond, being able to kind of, have the same vibe, but, you're doing your thing. You're busy, you're networking, you're creating, you're doing all the things behind. So for those that may not be aware of the music industry, what are some things that you would like to share for folks to take I guess, into consideration, because I think it's like art, right? If you understand what an artist deals with, you tend to appreciate their art more because you realize, oh, this artist who's at an exhibit, who has their painting up, had to go through through all these things, and that's what they deal with. Now I kind of see their art differently. Whereas with music, we're just, kind of, used to or assuming like what we see, right? Like you see the top artist folks, and everything's just done for them. Talk to us a little bit, for those that don't know, what is it like behind the scene to put something like The Patriot together that people may not even know about?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could talk to Topher too, but to put The Patriot together, it happened really organically. We took it to social media. We dropped a snippet, and people were just like, yo, this is it. Like, we need more of it. Can you like give us some more? So we ended up making a full song by doing a collaboration. Like, Topher did the song. He put a little snippet on TikTok. After he put the snippet up, that's when everybody went crazy. He took it to Instagram, said, hey, yo, what's up? You guys think I should get somebody else on this track? Instagram was like, yo, the most patriotic dude I know is TMR. You need to get him up on it. So he hit me up. It was like later in the evening. And then I did the verse. I sent the verse back to him. We got it mixed, mastered, all of that. We put it up. And the song was doing well until a whole bunch of like political kind of stuff got in the mix, and it got our song pulled from streaming services because it's just very patriotic, and a lot of the patriotism's aligned with one party. So It kind of like made people think that it was like trying to separate people. But if you listen to the words, it literally talks about family and things like that. So it was just kind of crazy that they took it down, but they have other songs that are actually disrupting the minds of our youth. So it's kind of like, yo, what's going on? So a whole bunch of people rallied behind us and was like, yo, that's whack. Like, it doesn't matter what you're saying in the song, because censorship should happen at all to anyone, period. Everybody should be able to say whatever they want. You don't have to agree with it. Don't get it twisted. We're not saying that. You don't have to agree with our message or somebody else's message. But the fact of the matter is the censorship is wrong. And we had a whole bunch of people get behind us and agree with us, and that's how we got our song back up on streaming services. And that's why it was such a great thing, because we were number one at the time that got pulled from the charts, and then it pulled down, and then right when it came back up, it went right back to number one again. And not only number one, we did a remix, and we had a number one and a number two at the same time. Oh, wow. And we hit Billboard. We hit Billboard. Overall, it was number 6. For the rap chart, it was number 1 and number 2 for R&B. So it was just a huge statement with a whole bunch of people voting with their dollars. So it was just like, it meant so much that it got back up. Almost, it almost meant more that it got back up than it even charting number 1, because it was just like, wow, we actually beat censorship at that time. So it just felt so good to get it back up there. That's that about The Patriot, about the censorship and all we had to go through with that. But as far as like the business behind it and all the production and stuff behind it, there's so many different moving parts. It's so intricate, but people don't understand that. I actually went to school for production. I actually went to school for entertainment business. I've invested a lot of time in my education, so I'm able to record myself. I'm able to understand contracts, and I'm able to understand copyrights and trademarks and all of that, specifically because I have that education. And so if I was talking to anybody out there, especially veterans, if you have the GI Bill, yo, use that bill and go to school to do whatever you want. And that means if you want to become a musician, a producer, a podcaster, a host, a videographer, whatever you want to do, you can find some type of school for it and become that. Literally, I have my mindset, hey, I'm going to become a recording artist. And the only way that you become a recording artist, well, a successful one, especially in this entertainment business, is actually go to school and go to recording school. So I went to the, I went to the LA recording school to become a recording artist. It just makes sense. I was taught in the military, keep it simple, stupid, that KISS method. So that's what I used. So it's just a simple thing. I just went to school and I did my research and I just stayed with it. And I never gave up. That's the main thing. A lot of people have fell by the wayside, not because they sucked. Some of the people, they're really talented. Some people might even say those individuals earlier on were more talented than me, but they can't say they have more drive than me. They can't say that they're more resilient than me, because me and my buddies and my team, we just stuck with it because we don't give up. We're not quitters. So there's no secret sauce or shortcut outside of the reality that it's perseverance
and time. You got to, it's like they say, the game is free, but the hustle, that comes separately.
Absolutely. You just can't hop into it thinking you're going to just drop a hit, drop a song, your first out. You know what I mean? You have to actually put in some work. Even if you did drop a song and that was the hit, you're not going to sustain. You're not going to last. That's why you see us continuously hit charts, continuously sell records independently. And this is all we do. And we were able to make a career out of it specifically because we had that strong foundation of education and also heart, will, and drive. And that is the reason why we're still here today and other people are not. So if you guys want to still be here and have the longevity, get that education, do your research, and just be strong mentally. I mean, you could be strong by your body, you could be strong by your spirit, but being strong mentally will keep you in the game.
So there's two things you said that I think are noteworthy to highlight, and I just want to double down. One is investing in yourself. Investing in yourself to learn your craft and not be dependent on someone else, because that first key enables the second thing that I really want to highlight, which is you're independent and you're veterans. Now I want that to kind of marinate for a second. If anybody knows anything, even the neophyte that doesn't know anything about music industry, you don't just make it to the top of the Billboard charts, when you're competing with the likes of very well-known artists with backings of big record labels and big, money. And again, not saying that, you can't, survive. The fact is you can't deny when you're having, other artists with their clout, with their financial backings, with their, industry, support. Sadly, it is what it is. Also, you're doing a few things. And this is a segue I want to do quickly in a second. But your content, it's a message that is about inclusion. It's a message about a variety of different things. You touch on the veterans' plight. You touch on race issues. You touch on all the things that are happening in the world. So you're not a one-trick pony in the sense that what you and your partners are doing is not just what, sadly, again, no disrespect to anyone in their craft, but there are some musics that are kind of one-hit wonders. There are music that are just writing, beats and music because somebody's behind it. But when you look at the message, I can't really understand what you're saying because you're mumbling, and I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? So, hey,
no, it's true. It's facts. You're not even hating. It's just a fact. And a lot of people are so sensitive today. And that's another thing I'm against is all this cancel culture. I don't want nobody canceled. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody canceled, and I don't want nobody to be sensitive. A lot of times people do to hear the truth. Yeah. If you're mumbling on the track, you mumbling on the track. If you make a track and it's whack, it's whack. I mean, I come up from a generation that when I was a kid, in order to even rap with folks, you had to go in a cypher, you had to freestyle, and if it was whack, they would tell you and they would kick you out the cypher.
Out. Yep.
Period. And I
think that's the powerful part of what you guys are doing.
And you would go home, and then so they kick you out the cypher, right? You would go home and be like, all right, I'm gonna write something better. You go back, you go freestyle or rap your best bars or whatever it was, and then you see if it works. Oh, no, it's whack. Then you go back home again and you just keep on doing it until you dope, and that's it. And it wasn't a thing to where it's like, oh man, you hate. It's just like it's not at the caliber, it's not at the par of where your art should be. Yes. And people would tell you back in the day. Now it's like participation trophies and it's okay. You can, right. I mean, it's all right. No, that's why we have so much. Yeah, it's not okay. That's why we have this music or so-called art that's not up to high quality specifically because people are patting them on the back when they don't deserve a pat on the back. If you did good, you deserve to be told about it. If you did bad, you deserve to be told about it. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like you're hating at all. I just feel like you're telling the truth, and people need to stop being offended when people tell them the truth. And it's just like, okay, like when somebody tells me like the truth about something, I'm like, oh, well, actually, thank you, because now I know, all right, I won't do that style. I won't make that type of song no more. I'll kind of like tweak this, tweak that, or I'll do some more research, or I'll just keep on practicing whatever I need to do, whether it's music-wise or business-wise. And then next time, when I come to the table, they're like, yo, this is dope. You've improved. And I'm like, yeah, because I took those notes into consideration. I didn't take it personal. I just take it into consideration. Yeah. I didn't make excuses, but I made it happen.
Right. And so that's a powerful point there. So the first point was investing in yourself and learning your craft. That's key.
Yeah.
Know your job. And again, tying into military, guess what? Before you got positioned anywhere, before you got issued any weapon, guess what you had to do? You had to learn your job, right? In the Marine Corps, every Marine is a rifleman, but you had to learn how to use a rifle. You know what I'm saying?
First.
So learn your craft. That's the first thing. Two, it's very commendable what you guys are doing, specifically to the fact, again, being independent, being veterans, right? Not having to succumb to peer pressure or industry pressure, because call it what it is. If you're in a business and you take on investors, guess what? Those investors now have some weight on what you're doing. If you're in the music industry, right? Same thing. If you take on a label, whatever, and they want you to say, hey, TMR, we want you to do something this way. Well, you know what I mean? Now you're caught in that situation where your liberties are kind of limited there. So the point that you are independent, the point that you are releasing your own music, you're mastering your craft is a powerful statement. That in and of itself is amazing. Then to be able to chop charts is the other part, which I think is powerful, because that speaks to the community. That speaks to what you've built. That speaks to the power of the message that's resonating with your fan base, which goes back to time, which you talked about, resiliency, building that base up, putting the work in, knowing that it doesn't just happen overnight, but knowing that it took time to build that. Back to the whole everybody gets a trophy situation. The fact is, not everyone is going to get be successful, right? There's a term in marketing, which is basically the market is the market is the market. If the market don't mess with you, don't rock with you, they're not gonna rock with you.
Yep.
And that's the fact that a participation trophy is not gonna give you. I love what you said about back in the day, how you came up. If you weren't good, guess what? You got punched in the face. You had to go back and do it again. And you came back again, like, I'm ready. Nope, get out of here. And eventually, guess what? That built a resiliency, a callousness that helped you to master your craft. Let me ask you, going back to the Marines, to the Marine Corps. What would you say are things you learned in service or that you acquired in service that helped you now as a recording artist, that you can say, because of this over here now is helping me on this side?
Wow. I would say storytelling. I would say the no quit. I would say the longevity. Like, we're always taught to, like, our last move isn't good enough, in the Marines at least. We go, okay, you did this, you topped the chart. Okay, what else?
Right.
So because I have that what else mentality, it stops me from being complacent, because we have a saying in the military, I'm pretty sure you know about this, it's called complacency kills. And I actually have a song called Complacency Kills. But when you're not complacent and you're always moving, you don't have time to really celebrate on the last move, because you're thinking about the next move. And you just stay consistent all the time, because you're just like, okay, that was straight, but hey, what else we got? That's fine. What else we got? Like, like when you make from private to lance corporal or specialist to corporal to sergeant and stuff like that. You're like, okay, cool, sergeant. Hey, let's go. Let's get that staff. All right, let's keep on going. All right, what's up with sergeant first class? What's up with Gunny? What's up with all that type of stuff? So that mentality is one of the biggest things. Got a special guest.
Hey, here you go.
There you go. But yeah, that mentality is the thing that actually keeps me going and keeps me flowing, because I'm just like, I can't stop. And then one of the major things, though, my own personal, because who I'm inspired by and stuff like that, my personal motivation was specifically the fact that I feel like I'm not the best Marine. And let me explain. Because I feel like I'm not the best Marine, because when I was overseas and I was in Iraq, Afghanistan, etc., I always admired the fact that some Marines that I was were just the best Marine. You know what I mean? That's all they did. Or the best service member. I know you probably ran into them or whatever, right? They would always win meritorious awards and always have their shoes signed, and their uniform was always clean. They're the perfect soldier, the perfect Marine. And then also, when they got overseas, they're the perfect soldier. They knew how to shoot. They were a squad, all that type of stuff, right? And then those individuals ended up passing away, getting killed, right? And I'm like, I'm not Marine. I am not. I'm like, rifleman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wasn't the word, but I was somewhere in the middle. I felt like they gave themselves to service, and like I necessarily did that as much as them. I was okay, I'm serving and stuff. And then when it was 16:30, I wanted to go on Liberty or whatever, family or whatever it was, but I felt like they gave their all to the service.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of them gave their all so much where it was like they got killed. And I'm like, why did they get killed over me? This makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went, you know what? Even though that they got killed, I feel like I'm indebted to them. I feel like I carry the legacy of them through the stories that I tell over music. So that's my biggest thing. That's my biggest thing.
Is that what gets you up in the morning to kind of keep driving and keep writing?
And partially. I mean, myself too, but like that motivates me, as well as I reminisce on times when I was in the desert. And I said, man, I remember there's a lot of times where I would pray to the Lord. I have my like little, do you remember those like little pocket Bibles?
Yep.
And I have my Bible right here
right there
in my pocket, in breast pocket. And I was like, man, God, please just bring me back. Like, I'm trying to get killed over here. I got a family. I got a daughter, man. I'm just trying to get back. If you get me back, I promise you, I'm going to record like my life depends on it. I'm going to keep everybody alive in my raps. Just bring me back, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, like, Ray, don't forget what you promised. Don't forget what you was praying for.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget all the people that sacrificed so you can have this moment. Because there's been times when I was overseas where I didn't go on patrol, I didn't ride in a Humvee, and the people who did go out on that patrol, the people who did ride in that Humvee got killed. I could have been there. You know what I mean? There's one instance, Corporal Ledsum, RIP, I was in Iraq, and there was one time I decided, okay, I got a whole bunch of stories and photos to process. So I'm going to stay back at the base and I won't go out on patrol. And the same Hummer that I usually ride in when I go out in, Corporal Ledsum ended up, getting killed over there. And who knows, that could have been me because I was riding in the same Humvee and I would be on his side.
Wow.
So who am I to squander this opportunity to keep telling the story of these great, wonderful warriors and these heroes?
Yes.
I mean, I have raps where I say, hey, you know what I mean? It's cool, I served or whatever, but don't call me a hero, like, because the real heroes ain't here.
Right. And you're telling the stories of those individuals. And I think that goes to the fact where, taking, obviously you have more than one motivation, pushing, but that's a drive, right? That's something that rain, sleet, snow, or ice, you got to get up and do it. And I think that's a salient point for those watching this, where it's like, hey, TMR, I want to do what you do. Well, first of all, understand that there are sadly some people who want the clout, who want what they see, who want the attention, who want the following. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, you work what you get, whatever motivates you. Again, we're not, like I said, we're not canceling anybody's situation. What we're saying is we want everyone to have a seat at the table, which is a whole nother conversation. But the point is, knowing that you have something else that drives you, that pushes past the I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to say, hey, I want to do this, but you want it bad enough. Like that who is it? E.T. Speech. Everybody, Eric Thomas speech, right? When you want it as bad as you want to breathe, right? When you want something as bad to your point, like, Lord, bring me back. You know what I mean? Like, there's people right now that could have been me here. That could have been me on that convoy. That could have been me on that chopper. All these could have been me moments. And guess what? I'm still here. So now it's like we have the responsibility to tell the stories of those that can't, to be the voice for those that don't have a voice. And even those that did come back but don't have the ability to articulate what is happening. And I think that's a powerful piece to be able to use our craft, whatever they may be, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whatever it is you have to do, it's that drive to push past what people may like to see, which I think is powerful to your point. One thing that I like that you said to focus in on right now, the musical industry, I wouldn't say now, but it's always had something going on, right? And today, cancel culture is a big thing.
Huge.
What gets rewarded, is questionable at times. But again, the market is the market is the market. And I will say that regardless of the details of that, what I want to ask you is, what is your position? I've heard, you and Topher talk about this a little bit, but, right now there's some artists out there that are doing some questionable things by some standards, by others they're good, whatever. However, if they have a platform to speak their truth, whatever that may be, then what about others who have their own platform with a different message to speak, right? Like if you can rock with Jay-Z and you can rock with Lil Nas X and you can rock with so and so, then why are you not paying attention to what Topher's saying, right, or what you're saying, or DQ is saying?
I mean, I can give you the answer. Everybody knows the answer. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy because everybody knows the answer, but nobody is brave enough to say it. I say, okay, what don't you like about it? Why? Why?
Right.
No one wants to answer that question because they know once they answer that question, they're going to be painted inside of a corner, and then they're going to show their own bias, their own discriminant ways. And it's like, okay, so I can't feel this way about this, but you can feel a way about that. I didn't judge you. I'm not saying that I want to judge you at all. I don't want to judge you.
Exactly.
But why are you judging me? So it's just hypocritical. It's very hypocritical that you can do one thing.
Right.
You can put Satan on shoes, but you can't say I love my family. Like how? I don't understand. Like me and Topher, when we did the video, you saw we climbed the mountain. We were on the top of the mountain with the cross and the Patriot, and we could probably show a snippet later. But like we're on top of the mountain with the cross and the Patriot. But God is too crazy to show. When you can show Satan on shoes. I don't understand it. I'm not telling people that they have to be religious. They have to believe in a certain denomination because I feel like everybody should have their freedom to do whatever they want. I'm not even telling people that, they should hate on if they want to do whatever they want to do with shoes. I can have my own opinion with it. I obviously don't agree with that, from what I've been speaking about, but I don't want to cancel anybody for having their own opinion or their own expression of art.
Right.
Because I want to have the freedom to respond to that art in my own way. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of crazy how people will pick and choose, and the industry will pick and choose who they want to push and put forward. And it's kind of let the people pick. But the thing is people can't pick if you cancel or censor picks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you're only showing one thing, the people are only going to see one thing, and now they can't pick another thing or an alternative because you're censoring the alternative. And all you're doing is feeding one narrative to people. Exactly. And I don't think that's right. That's not right.
And I think that's a powerful point there you kind of hit on. I was going to say it's the narrative. Right? If they're controlling the narrative and they're controlling the airways and they're controlling the media outlets, obviously people are not going to know, right? You just kind of consume what you're given. And, unbeknownst to you, there are, like we talked, the last time, there are a bunch of veteran artists out there doing amazing things, but people don't know about it, right? Like, oh, support the troops. Oh, I support the troops. I'm like, do you really? Are you supporting our artists?
Do you really?
Are you supporting our musicians? Are you supporting our entrepreneurs? Like, we have an entire subculture of people that not only served, but came back. Some of them came back a little bit different in some way, shape, fashion, or the other, but they're still having utility. They're still serving. They're still doing something. And to not be able to get that message out, I think it's what's crazy. You know what I mean? Because to your point, it's like, hey, I'm not hating on the next person. You know what I mean? If anything, I want you to be able to have options, but truly have options. And I think that's what gets missed, because it's easy to say, oh, no, that's bad. I'm like, first of all, like you said, I can have my personal views, but as a creator, as a creative, as an artist, as a musician, the fact is you want everyone to have equal opportunity to get some shine. Correct. right? Like you got to feed your family and put your craft out there and get recognition the same way the next person is doing it. So if my man wants to put that stuff on a sneaker, hey, you know what? I respect your hustle. At the end of the day, you found your way to do your thing. Hey,
that's the thing.
Do what you gotta do, right? You went from a country road to that one. Hey, look, it's not my situation. However, I want to see my brothers and my sisters, though, who are doing something else that I support, also get that same recognition, right? Like, why don't I see TMZ putting out there like, hey, we got some veterans out here putting some fire on tracks. Like, do we know about that? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or we got some sneakers here commemorating what's happening on a daily basis from a statistic, and we want to put a message out there on some Nike brands. You know what I mean? Like, if you could do your thing, why can't we message our thing too? And I think that's really what it comes down to. If you want to give him some shine, hey, good for him. But there's enough room on the table for the people, for the market to truly make make a decision, which I go back to. The market is the market until the narrative is skewed. That's the problem. The market will decide what it wants. But if the market has no options, it's like, well, it's either this or that. Well, there's like 20 other options out there. I think that's the problem, which again, going back to my initial point, that's commendable to what you guys are doing because you're independent artists and you're veterans, which means you're not playing by the industry standard, right? Some would say, well, you're not selling your soul. Look, it's not about that. It's really the fact that, hey, you're doing it your own way. And if Beyonce could put out a whole album, on her own accord, independently released, then why not, other veterans do the same thing? Like, gone are the days where you need to have stuff. Like, look at us right now, right? We don't have to go knock on BET's door to have a conversation or, or ABC to have a conversation. It's a different time. Right? We have the ability to create content our own way. And because of that, it's a creator culture. So now that's changing the narrative. And we want the same respect and the same awareness to be given to our veterans who are creating. We have artists, we have musicians, we have entrepreneurs, we have a wealth of people who've done amazing things. So when people say, hey, I support the troops, well, support it with your actions, support it with your pockets. Right? Like we talked about before. Oh, we have to bring awareness to suicide. No, let's get away from awareness and get to action. Let's start corralling conversations. Let's start holding space for our veterans. Let's start creating opportunities for them to be able to re-engage because like and you've seen, you said it, there are many artists that who quite frankly had probably more artistic, gravitas and, skills than you, but absent the skills and the opportunities, it's literally like you serve, you come back, and you're kind of missionless. And I love the fact that many of us have embraced that. For veterans, it's not about reacclimating back to civilian life. It's just saying now we move on to the next mission, right? You served in the Marine Corps. Now the next mission is to do what you're doing. And for some veterans, they haven't made that leap yet or that connection that service continues just differently. But how do they do that if they don't see that? And for many people, let's talk about it, right? I don't know about, I'll speak for myself. At the depth of my depression, PTSD as a veteran, right? Remove all the stuff that people would know. The one thing that I will say that was the hardest is the detachment piece. The fact that it's like, Ray, you don't get it, man. It's not that I'm depressed. What I'm saying is I just don't feel relevant anymore. I don't feel I have utility anymore. I don't feel that if I'm gone, Ray, would you even notice? You know what I mean? Like that detachment.
I would.
You know what I mean? Right. But in that moment, right, that's the part that affects the veteran.
In your mind,
Correct. When a veteran gets to that point of detachment, they start to have those thoughts of like, you know what? It'd be better off if I just wasn't around, maybe. And that slowly starts to spiral. So I'm saying that there is depression, but for many of our veterans, that begins to spiral. That leads for many to become statistics, and they start to kind of implode. They start to kind of take away. They kind of retreat. But my point is creating opportunities, conversations, pathways for veterans to be able to say no. Like you said, look, no, I notice. I know you're there. I'm gonna reach out to you. We have ways to do stuff. You have an art. You want to get down and do something. Hey, reach out to TMR. You know what I mean? They got a record label. They're doing stuff. You're an artist. Is this something you said you wanted to do? Or remember, back in the day when you and I were deployed, you was talking about, man, DP, you don't understand, man. If I make it back, you don't know. I'm going to go hard, right? We get back, and I'm like, you said when we get back you was going to do something. We've been back about 2 years now. When are you going to do that thing? And sometimes you need to that, right? Like you have to be your brother's keepers, and it's from a place of love. You know what I mean? So I want to get your take on that because I think that's part of what's missing to a degree within our community community, which I think you guys are addressing in your space, but it needs to be said, right? Again, it's not just support the troops. It's not just awareness. It's let's start mobilizing. Let's start putting action behind it. I support your music, then buy the damn album. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, your business ain't doing good. Are you even patronizing me? Are you even frequenting the stuff? Are you sharing the content? Are you doing your part to help? Because talk is cheap. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, first I want to address that whole market thing really quick, and then I'll get in that. The market thing, it's like, I'll use an analogy. Imagine you go into a supermarket store and you only see one kind of cereal. How exciting is that? Not exciting at all. You want some different options, right?
Goddamn cornflakes.
That's how we felt. Yeah, only cornflakes or the bag cereal. You know, I was on Section 8, all that type of stuff, government cheese, bag cereal. You know, so if I just see bag cereal, I'm just like, man, this is boring. But when you have other options, box cereal, warm cereal, oatmeal, all types of different stuff, you're like, okay, if I want to choose this, I can. I don't have to. I don't have to knock it off the shelf. But I can try the hot cereal one day if I want to. But the thing was, the reason why we had such a problem is like, yo, we weren't even in the conversation. We weren't even in the store for people to see it, to make that option available to them or not. We were just gone. So that was our whole beef with the whole thing. And it's so crazy. It's happening. You know, I don't miss no words or anything like that. Like, it's so crazy. Like, they're doing it to 2 black people. Wow. They're saying they want equality. How ridiculous is that? You know what I mean? And we both have black families, bringing the money back to our black families, and you trying to take food out of our family's mouth, but you're saying equality. You're saying, you know, they're saying things like Black Lives Matter and marching and stuff. Okay, cool. If we really matter, then let's really see the results. Or is it Black Lives Matter or some Black Lives Matter, things like that? But that's what some Black Lives Matter, or is it all of them? You know what I mean? So these are the emotions that we were going through when all this was happening. We're just like, yo, listen, you don't have to agree with us on every single standpoint, political, social, economic, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, if you say that you care about people, you say you care about all types of people, and you say you care about equality, then show it. Put your money where your mouth is, or at least give other people the opportunity to put the money where their mouth is. Don't censor it. So that's all I want to say on the market piece. Because it was just so ridiculous when it happened, when they pulled us off streaming services. I was just like, this is so ridiculous, man. But then now your next point is you want me to chime in about what subject?
So going on to the mental health aspect of what we've been able to see, you know, ourselves, right? We've understood the transition from service. So for many watching this, you may have some, they're like, you know, TMR, is great that you're out there. I get everything you're saying, but you don't get it, man. Nobody cares about what I got to say. And that detachment, that depression, whatever people are dealing with of trying to create those pathways, which you guys have done. I think it's a powerful aspect of understanding that for many of our veterans out there in our tribe, there is something else to do after service. It doesn't just end. You know how it is, right? Like, we live in the past sometimes. Like, man, our best days are behind us. Like, says who? Says who? You know what I mean? Like, those were great days, but we have better days ahead if we build those days and move in that intention. So I think there's something powerful to say for you, you know, how, you know, what, if you want to share some of your perspective on the mental health aspect, because you did deploy, you did come back, and you did move into music, but it's not just like people see. You didn't leave service one day and boom, you're at the top of charts the other day, right? There were highs and lows along the way. And for some out there who may be in the low, you know, that can be an encouraging part to say, like, wow, you know, TMR, you're good. You ain't got no problems, man. You never dealt with none of these issues. You've never dealt with, you know, problems. You know what I mean? You're great. You're on CDs. You're making music. Like, life is grand. You don't understand what depression looks like. You don't understand what loss feels like. Like, really? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So on that point,
kind of crazy because people really don't know. Because to your point, I get everything. I get depression, I get the sadness, I get suicidal ideations, I get family issues, I get money issues, I get housing issues, because when I moved to LA, I didn't know how to do anything. So I ended up homeless. So I had to figure out that. So I ended up going to VA. VA took care of me because the VA does have resources. The VA does have resources. All you have to do is ask. So that's what I did. I asked, and they actually have resources to help out Iraqi and Afghan veterans get themselves together. Not only a place to stay, but also they have the therapy sessions, and they also have a situation where they can help you get your disability, such as things like that. Have all types of things that you go to the VA and so I got that care of. So I bared the homeless, the depression. When I felt like I had no mission and I felt invisible, I was crying to the Lord. I was really upset because I was no longer a Marine, I was no longer a superhero anymore, and because of that, I just so depressed and so sad. And I was trying to get myself together, and I got up, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, "Hey, listen, you are the help. There's nobody. You are the help. You need to get yourself together, and you need to keep influencing yourself and tell yourself all those things that you once promised yourself when you were overseas. Tell yourself you were great. Tell yourself you were a hero. Tell yourself," and when I say hero, I mean these are things to big up myself. When I say like another type of hero, I mean like war heroes, like those other Marines that I served with. This is different. This is like kind of like, hey, I'm a superhero, like I can do it, like positive reinforcement. Tell yourself you're a king. Tell yourself that you're the best. All these things. And then once I got myself to believe what I was saying, not just say it, not just fake it till I make it, like really believe it, then I was like, yo, I got this. No one can stop me. I'm going to do everything that I said I was going to do, regardless of whatever anybody thinks of me. Don't get it twisted. I have situations where I had some lows. I had some situations where I had some lows, and there were situations where I was depressed, situations where I wanted to kill myself, situations where I felt like I had no friends, that nobody related to me, all types of stuff. So I do get it. But the fact of the matter is, I never gave up. I never quit. I always believed in myself, and I pulled myself out of that ditch and said, hey, you know what, TMR, Raymond, whatever you're calling yourself today, you can make it. Yeah. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, just call me Raymond, man. I hate all the like titles, you know. Hey, Raymond, you got this, man. All you got to do is keep going like you have been doing. Put one foot in front of the other, and you'll make it. And another thing too that I want to know is, you only need yourself to validate yourself. You don't need anybody to validate yourself. When you go other places waiting for people to validate you, that's where you make a mistake. Because if you validate yourself and you only validate yourself, no matter what, if you have nobody around you, you're going to be good because you already validated yourself. But on the other hand, if you wait for somebody else to validate you, you're going to need that individual around you to validate yourself, right? And so if they're gone, where's your validation? You have none. So always validate yourself. Remind yourself of everything that you did in the military, in service, in civilian life, whatever it is, whoever is listening. Remind yourself of your great accomplishments. And I'm not talking about participation trophies. I'm talking about things that you accomplished that you're proud of. Remind yourself of those things. That's what I do when I get down. I'm like, you know what? Man, I served 10 years in the United States Marine Corps. I survived 2 combat deployments. People were shooting at me, rockets, all types of movie type stuff happening, and I made it. Are you serious? And you're going to let somebody on the internet get to you, Raymond? Nah, man, you're great. Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? So I remind myself of that. And then when I remind myself of that, I'm like, yo, I am great. Or even I might even go further. Back in time, I might be like, yo, so you're depressed right now. Your mom was a single mother of 5 kids, struggling on government assistance, living in Section 8, eating government cheese and bag cereal and peanut butter. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know, right? Doing homework in the dark next to a candle, all your brothers and your sister. And you're going to give up, Raymond? Nah. No internet troll can stop you. Are you serious? Plus, most of these guys wouldn't say it to your face. Are you serious? Nah. No. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know that all your family was split up. They don't know that every one of your siblings was in foster care. They don't know that. They just see the billboard and think it's all pretty and shiny. They don't know that. They don't know you come from Newark, New Jersey. They don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So why would I stop for a stranger who says something negative to me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I say all this not to kind of like toot my own horn or nothing like that, but I say it to motivate. I say it to inspire anybody who's listening right now. Don't let nobody get you down, because you are great. You are amazing just how you are. And that goes to your personality. That goes to your aesthetics. That goes to your accomplishments. That goes to your relationships. That goes to your friendships. Don't let nobody get you down or tell you that everything that you accomplished or every move that you made isn't significant, because it is. You don't have to be a Billboard artist. You can just be a great family man that takes care of his responsibilities, or a great woman who takes care of her kids. That's great. That's great to me. That's why in The Patriot, you hear me talking about regular people. That's not on accident.
It's intentional.
The sisters working hard on their shift. Yeah, this is for the sisters working hard on their shift. What mainstream rapper says that without cussing?